In the world of home decoration nowadays, it's how you get the paint onto the surfaces. It's all important. Do you rag roll or not rag roll? Do you sponge or not sponge? But what if, after all of that, you just don't like it anymore?
This is the answer to slow and messy stripping. It's down to a lot of air, a minuscule amount of sand and a drop of water.
Meet Nigel Farrow. He's a farmer, an inventor and now a super stripper. He claims he's found a new way to speedily strip delicate surfaces with minimal damage and with very little mess. What's more, he says, he wouldn't be where he is today if it weren't for tomorrow's world.
I can remember as a young boy sitting watching Tomorrow's World with my uncle. There was a gentleman standing there with his goggles on and he used just a par of water to actually cut through different types of steel. This enhanced me to look again at something that I always had a love for, is sailing. And the most notorious job I think everyone has got is scraping the bottom of them, which you can see here how difficult it is. And I set about achieving something and developing something that will do that.
This 90-year-old wooden fishing boat is coated in a mat of barnacle beards and saltwater grime, but it's getting the makeover of its life, and all in record time. What you're seeing here took Nigel just over 25 minutes, many days faster than the alternative chore of stripping it by hand. There's nothing new about harnessing the power of high-pressure water, air and sand to clean boats, but what Nigel set out to design was a machine that would blend these ingredients to do the job without the mess a traditional blaster might leave behind.
It was trial and error, of course. It was getting all the three elements right from the word go, the grit, the air and the water. But once you actually got the mix there, it worked. And it was just all the time squeaking it, turning it to get the blend perfectly right.
So this is where it all happens. Now the water goes into this pipe from an ordinary household tap. It then goes into this tank, it's filled up with grit and water. It's then transferred into this box, which is where all the action happens. It's pressurised by air, and that's the secret of it, because the water and the grit are at very low levels, but the air drives them out through the pipe at the speed of a car on a motorway.
Nigel gets more stripping power out of less grit thanks to a clever way of blending the ingredients by heat, vaporising the water to dampen the mix. But what comes out of the other end is cold and a lot less messy, allowing Nigel to tackle jobs in places a lesser sandblaster would never be invited. In 3 days flat, Nigel stripped back 200 years of prayer from these delicate pine pews in a church in Suffolk. And with just 2 hours' work, he helped restore the inside of this 300-year-old barn in Norfolk, places most water-drenching wet sand blasters fear to tread. So can he help at this 18th century pub under restoration on the south coast? Its new owner has big plans and he's already had the sandblasters in.
Andy, what are you doing?
Well, as you can see, very dark old pub, and what we've done is strip back these oak beams. It took the boys a couple of days. They did a super job, but there was more dust upstairs than you can ever imagine, and it's going to take us probably 2 weeks to clean it up.
So you'd like a way to do it without all this horrible dust?
It would be wonderful if it could be achieved.
One alternative to the dusty sandblasters used here in the pub is the gas blowtorch, which is low on mess. So how will Nigel fare against the flame?
We've pitched Nigel against your builder, Fred. Gentlemen, are you ready? On your marks, get set, go.
Nigel quick off the mark there, but Fred's having a little trouble. To strip this table, Nigel's using just 1.5 litres of water and not even a kilogram of sand. Given the time it's taking him, that's 20 times less water than a traditional wet sand blaster and around 10 times less sand. And Nigel's streaking ahead of the blowtorch, which looks like it's doing more burning than stripping. Nigel's coming up to the final bend, but Fred's still way behind.
1 minute 30 seconds I'm making. That's really very impressive. Sorry, Fred. Bad luck, really. What do you think, Andy?
Well, very impressive and very little mess at all, Nigel. Well done. What are you doing for the rest of the weekend?
Funny you should say that. Nothing, as long as you're supplying the beer.
Well, I think you better start with that ship's wheel over there, then.
No problem.
And finished just in the nick of time. The freshly stripped Fisherman's Rest is about to open for business.
Nigel, cheers, mate. Well done.
Good health
Bless
to you.
you.
Cheers.
It's fantastic. I want one. Other people have designed similar systems, but Nigel plans to miniaturise his, and he has a patent pending. So fingers crossed, and it might soon be a feature of your home decorating kit.
That's it for now. Join us next time for another glimpse of the future.
The latest in